Okay, so today I'm going to be going over some different corrective exercises and stretches to help fix an internally rotated shoulder. So, just generally, some things that can cause this posture to occur are first, weak external rotators in the shoulder. Um, on top of that, if we have a client who has really poor thoracic extension, that can cause this position to occur as well. And then a poor desk posture, so sitting at one's desk with their shoulders slouched over, the forward head tilt, that can contribute to internally rotated shoulders as well. So the first thing we're going to do is just work on strengthening those external rotators. So we are going to do a 90-degree external rotation pull with a band. So how we have this set up, we have a light resistance band here hooked up to a doorknob. This can really be hooked up to any kind of knob, anything that'll hold the band in place as long as it's secure. You want to have the client start with their elbow in line directly with their shoulder. From there, they're rotating straight up as far as they can go without arching the back, the low back, or the upper back for that matter. What we don't want to see is the client cranking on the band and turning their upper body posteriorly to get the band further back. Obviously, we just want to completely isolate that shoulder and the external rotators within it. The next exercise we're going to do works on the same thing as the last one we talked about. Again, we're working on just strengthening up those external rotators in the shoulder, but now we're going to be doing both arms at the same time. So again, we have that same light resistance band here, and we have it hooked up to a doorknob. Once again, this can really be hooked up to any kind of knob as long as it is secure. We're going to be doing a band W row. So you're going to have your client row in where their elbows reach 90 degrees. So the elbows are in line with the shoulders as they row in, just as you can see here. Then they will externally rotate just as we did in the 90-degree external rotation. So we're rowing in, squeezing the shoulder blades in the back as we rotate it, or pull in, and then rotating up. Again, this is working on strengthening the external rotators within the shoulder, but also working on that pulling motion and strengthening the muscles of the upper back as well. The next exercises we're going to talk about are going to work on strengthening the upper back of our client, but also work on their range of motion in that area as well. As I mentioned, if your client has poor thoracic extension, so if they have a kyphotic posture in their back, that can contribute to the internal rotation of the shoulders. So what you're going to have your client do for this exercise, we're going to be doing the prone, so lying face down, Y, T, and I. We want to make sure though, since we're putting an emphasis on external rotation of the shoulders, that as you can see here, the thumbs are up for every movement. So we'll complete the I exercise with the arms straight ahead, pulling the arms up as high as you can. Following the I, we will scoot the arms out just slightly to a Y position. Again, thumbs still up, pulling up as high as he can here, working on strengthening and mobilizing the muscles of the upper back. Lastly, we will go out to a T position. Again, keeping the thumbs up, extending up as high as we can, really working on mobilizing those muscles. A lot of people, if you have really poor mobility of the upper back region, may have trouble with some of these movements. So a good modification is the W, bringing the elbows in just a bit so that they form a W rather than a T, and still pulling up the exact same way with the exact same goal in mind.
Right here, and just
extension. So as I mentioned, with an internally rotated posture in the shoulders, another common thing that we typically see with that is a kyphotic posture as well. This can be a contributor that can make the internally rotated shoulder posture worse. So in saying that, we want to make sure that we're addressing the kyphotic posture as well. A really good exercise for working to bring your client out of that forward rounded posture is working on extension. So you will need a foam roller for this exercise. You're going to have your client set up where their shoulders and upper back are resting on the foam roller. From there, we want them to focus on just extending their upper back over the foam roller as much as they can. We want to make sure in this that the core is set and that the low back is not contributing to the movement at all. Because when the low back kicks in, we're creating more issues opposed to addressing the ones at hand currently. So we really want to just focus on the upper back region here, extending back as far as the client can over that foam roller and then coming forward. When you have a client with this internally rotated shoulder posture, another thing to really focus on when strengthening muscles is pulling exercises. So as we push, that often rotates the shoulders inward. It strengthens these muscles here in the front, which will pull us this way naturally. But if we focus on pulling, whether it's this direction, whether it's this direction, but pulling in some motion, you are obviously strengthening the muscles in the back, but also working to bring the shoulders back into a neutral position rather than an internally rotated posture. I can't tell. I'm gonna have to do